want none! You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ the Tar Heel, and welcome to another episode of Russ the Tar Heel Investigates. And in this investigation piece, we are going to look at the statements made by Mack Brown in his press conference regarding the quarterback situation. And I think that there is a ton of emotions going on right now with what was stated by the head coach at North Carolina. And I want to break it down, and I'm going to tell you what I think is being said. Now, I think it's important to understand this, and I think a lot of us do. Mack Brown is a master politician in the sense that sometimes he's going to say a whole bunch, okay, but he's going to give you very little, all right? At other times, you know, he is very pointed in the way that he tries to phrase things so as not to give you too much. Now, I think that I have a pretty good grasp on what he was stating, and I want to tell you my thoughts on it, and we'll see obviously on Thursday night how all these things come to fruition. But I want to break down what Coach Mack Brown said about the quarterback situation, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts, and we will go from there, baby. So without further ado, Coach Mack Brown, head coach of the University of North Carolina, regarding the UNC quarterback situation.
Right now, we're planning on playing both quarterbacks, depending on how the game dictates.
Off the jump right there, man. We're planning on playing both quarterbacks depending on how the game dictates. Now, this is how I interpret that, okay? Max Johnson is going to be the starting quarterback. There will be packages in place for Connor Harrell, depending on how the game dictates. He's saying in certain spots, I do believe that Connor Harrell will come in and run some plays. Now, what I do not want to see, okay, regardless of who is the starting quarterback, is I don't want this to be Max, you got this series, Connor, you got this series, Max, you got this series, Connor, you got this series. I don't like that. I think that it messes with the chemistry. I think you need to find a stinking guy, and that you possibly have packages in place for the other one. Now, here's the situation. If Connor Harrell is the guy, what packages could you possibly have for Max Johnson? Because if Connor is the guy, then he is the better passing quarterback, and he is obviously the better stinking running quarterback. So there are no packages for Max Johnson, right? The packages would be in place for a guy that brings an extra element to the table, like a Connor Harrell with his legs. So I want you to keep that in mind and kind of delve deep into this and kind of look past all the bull crap, if you will, right?
The problems we had last year is Connor came in the West Virginia game without any experience because Drake didn't play in the bowl game.
Touché. So
part of developing depth, we want to have two quarterbacks ready to play.
You gotta play two guys.
That's important to us. Very few.
Now, real quick, I'm not trying to break this down too much, but what is the way that you combat this? How do you get both guys in the stinking game? Well, you know, hopefully you can stink and build up a lead, and you can get the second guy some stinking burn. That's how you do it, right? That is how you stink and get both of these guys in the game so that one person, if he goes down, God forbid, the other person is more than capable and ready to take the stinking reins and lead the team to victory.
People do that. That's something that we have not done a very good job of, and we've been lucky that Drake and Sam stayed healthy. But it's hurt us that we did not have someone ready if they had gotten hurt. Depending on how the game goes, we would like to play two quarterbacks, and we'd like to do it for.
Hey, once again, depending on how the game goes, okay? If they get a big lead, second guy comes in. If we believe that there's a package in place that can benefit us on a drive, then the second guy will come in. And I obviously believe that that guy is going to be Connor Harrell because he's the only person out of those two that would bring an extra element to the table. But I think that's very key because I've seen a lot of, it almost seems like a bunch of North Carolina media is kind of building this out to where Mack is saying, we're going to play two quarterbacks as if it's like this two quarterback system. I don't get that out of this at all. So, it's kind of shocking to me. And like I said, maybe I'm out in left field, maybe on Thursday night, and we're sitting there watching them swap in and out, which would be ridiculous to me. Maybe I'm the one putting my foot in my mouth, but everybody trying to paint this out as like this, we're going back to Chris Keldorf, and, it's not going that stinking route, okay? I do not foresee that. I don't think that's what Coach Mack Brown is saying, and I think that it's pretty clear, maybe he's not intentionally doing it, but I think that it's pretty clear of what he's stating here.
Season. And the offensive staff has done a really good job. Connor and Max are different. They're the same in some ways, but they're different in others. And the offensive staff has done a really good job of blending the line with what both of them do best. So I feel really good going into the game about the plan for both of those because they've tailored it to where the quarterback that's in the game will have things that he can do best without question.
Yeah, 100%, man. You're not going to see probably as much read option with Max Johnson, right? It's not necessarily a strong point. I'm not saying you will not see that, but you're not going to see as much read option with Max Johnson. I think a lot of times if and when Connor is in the game, you're going to see him use his legs. And you're going to see him try to get moved outside of the pocket, to where he has that, that dual option. He can either get outside, he can hit somebody down the field, or once again, he can utilize his legs. So obviously there's going to be two different plans in place for, both quarterbacks. The issue is that once you start going back and forth between a pocket passer, which Max has the ability to escape, and then you have a guy like Connor who's really good with his stinking legs, the offensive line has to remember who's back there, and you build your pocket around that, right? You additionally, have to understand that sometimes you move the pocket depending on where your quarterback is. Different quarterbacks have different drop backs. Max Johnson's 6'5", so his 3-4, step drop is going to be different than Connor's 3-4 step drop. These are all variables that play a factor in the game. So it goes even farther beyond Max Johnson and Connor Harrell's capabilities. This is what is best for this football team.
I do see scenarios where both play. What I'm saying is that we will have both quarterbacks ready and we would play them based on how the game would dictate. When you go into the game.
Once again, man, and nowhere in here do I read we're going to stink and swap them in and out, in and out, in and out. We will play them. We'll have both quarterbacks ready, just like every other stinking team in the country. And we want to play both based off of how the game plays out. Max Johnson's the starter. Connor Harrell has packages. And if Carolina somehow ends up getting a big lead, which I do not anticipate in Minnesota, I've already told you guys I think this is going to be a tight football game. Then you're going to see a little bit more Connor Harrell. You might even stink and see Jacoby Criswell get into the game. But I would not anticipate, obviously, the latter.
There'll be some that'll hear this and say, he said he's going to play two quarterbacks. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. There'll be some that say, I can't believe they don't have a quarterback. They don't even have one. And there'll be some that say, oh, gosh, maybe we got two quarterbacks.
Hey, I'm not saying any of those things. And that's where he's being a little facetious. There'll be some people that say, I can't believe that they don't have a quarterback. No, I think that both are capable of winning football games. I do believe that Max Johnson at this point is the better guy for the job as far as everything that I've heard coming out of camp, and you put his experience, his size, his acumen, all that kind of stuff into stinking play. I believe that Max Johnson is the guy right now, okay? That's my personal opinion. I know that other people have differing opinions, But that is important to to really hone in on, is exactly what Coach Mack Brown is stating.
They're both good enough to win, but we've got to figure out what during the game works the best to win the game. And that's it. And that's what we tell the players. We came up with, a guest speaker came in and said, don't talk about how good you are, put it on film. So that's been one of the themes for the fall. Don't tell me you won't play, everybody wants to play. Don't tell me you won't be an NFL player, everybody wants to be an NFL. Put it on film. And the ones that put it on film are the ones we're going to play Thursday. And the same with the quarterbacks. Jacoby's just been behind. He's had some great plays, but he didn't get here for spring, and so he'll keep working if one of these two guys got hurt. But right now it's a two-man race. But we do feel like that we can play either one of these guys and win. We've got to figure out what they're doing. We've got to figure out how we're handling it during the game, and which system within our system that one of them would run would be the one to give us the best chance to win. And not to be a smart aleck, but we feel like both of them are good enough to win. We don't know Max. I mean, we haven't seen him in a game. We've seen video. Connor, we know, and Connor's got to keep coming, and we know that. But Connor's had some great plays. And so that's what we'll do, is we'll just...
And see, I think that there's a lot of, there's the politician side of Coach Mack Brown right here, right? You have a capable quarterback like Connor. Max is going to be the guy. I firmly believe that. I've told you guys that 100 times. And so, you try to talk somebody up a little bit, not saying that it's not legitimate, but you want to give him positive affirmations so that you make him understand and know, hey man, I believe in you. Okay. I believe that you can be successful. I need you to stink and be ready, and we will have plays in the game that enable us to expose your talents to the stinking world. And so I think that there's a reason why you say, it's kind of like you don't want to. I'm trying to make it as real life as possible. You don't want to make someone feel like they're not as good. So you're like, you take the guy that's going to be your guy, Max Johnson, and you say, we don't know about Max. And then you give him, we've seen him on tape, da-da-da-da-da, and then you follow that up with a positive affirmation. Hey, Connor's made some really good plays, and it's like, once again, when you try to stink and read into this and what is trying to be stated, I think it's very clear that, Max is going to be the guy. And once again, not to belabor this, the thing is, Connor will play, but it will be sparingly unless for some odd reason they are just destroying Minnesota with the read option, and it's extremely effective.
We'll be like you all. We'll be sitting there watching the game and say, this is working, we'll let it go. This isn't working, let's change it up. Let's try something else. And, I mean, we don't know how either quarterback's going to play. So if one of them's in the game and not playing well, we're going to play the other one.
100%. Hey, Max goes in, bro. Max gets in there, and he's thinking can't move the football down the field. Don't be surprised. We all know Connor's coming in. Connor will come in if Max is ineffective at Minnesota.
I mean, it is. If it was Drake, we wouldn't be sitting here saying this because we just don't know how they're going to play. But no, very honestly, we don't know. We don't know how either one's going to play. So we're going to watch the game and try to put them in the best positions. And then if it's not working for one, you go with another to try to win the game. I would like to play both based on how the season goes.
Based on how the season goes. If Max Johnson comes in, bro, and starts effectively, methodically moving the football down the field, he is going to keep the job. And you will probably see Connor against Charlotte, North Carolina Central, and maybe JMU. You start blowing out the guys like Duke, Pitt, Virginia. He's going to get some burn because he is right. You need to keep these guys locked in to where, God forbid, if something were to happen to one of the quarterbacks, the other guy has got playing time, he's got experience, and he's ready to stink and go. So that's how I'm reading this thing, man.
If one of them looks like Drake May on Thursday night and he's winning all the games, then we're going to play one quarterback.
100%.
So what you do is you figure out what gives you the best chance to win the game, and that's what you do.
Hey, I think it's pretty stinking clear, man. Once again, you let me know if you read anywhere in there that this is like a legitimate two quarterback system right now. Or is this one of those things where you have a polished guy in a sense, that can lead your offense, but you see situations in which a guy that's a better athlete, he's lightning fast, he can assist your team in certain scenarios. That's how I read this, man. And unless Max Johnson once again comes out and he just lays an egg, he's going to be the stinking guy. And Connor will come in and he will run, certain plays in certain situations, but I'm not reading this two quarterback ordeal. There will be a guy. I believe that. Because if Carolina gets into stinking, I would say even week 3 without having that stinking dude, we have issues. We have issues because then it does become, Carolina doesn't have a quarterback. I really believe that it boils down to that. If we get to the situation where we're watching these guys, take a series, it's probably going to be like Marquise and possibly a Mitch Trubisky type ordeal. That's just how I think and see things, man. So let me know what you think down in the comment section, Tar Heel Nation. I think it's thinking pretty clear once you break this thing down. He said a whole bunch, but I think that the writing is on the wall, how this is going to unfold. So if you haven't already, man, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you on the next one, Tar Heel Nation.
I'm a Tar Heel!